Okay, good morning. We are here in Amsterdam, and I'm sitting here with Andreas Müller
Hello.
from Germany, and yeah, we are going to do a sort of an interview.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, you are doing talks all over the world in a way.
Yeah.
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 And I was sort of with this video, I want to sort of give a view of what you talk about.
Okay.
That's sort of the idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Understand? So you have a maybe sort of an introduction idea in your head, what you normally talk about, or what is it about what you talk about?
Well, usually I don't really have an idea about what I talk about,
Okay.
but something comes out. So yeah, there is mostly an introduction.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay. Now I just I make these videos more, you know.
Mm.
And this week I was on a ride with mopeds, with motorbikes and stuff like this. I told you about it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And one guy, he had seen me on these
Okay.
videos.
Okay.
And these are all different group, you know, not in this area of people. And he said, yeah, you're making these fake videos.
Oh, all right. Cool.
So I said, yes, yeah, I do this. So I want to see in this video if we can stay out of the wake or something like this, you know. You have this, that you have this response about what you talk, that people say this?
So I don't really get it. That people recognize me?
No.
or what?
He said that I was vague in these videos, that I present vague stories.
Ah,
Vague,
all right.
you know?
Yeah, I understand.
So
Now
like,
I understand. I understand. Yeah, it depends. I mean, what I talk about, it might look very vague because in a way there is no real message.
Yeah.
But in a way, but some people wouldn't call that vague at all. Some
Yeah.
people regard that as very clear.
Yeah.
Because what's basically being said is that there is no truth.
Mm-hmm.
So there can't be any true story or any true statement
Yeah.
at all anyway.
Yeah.
So again, this might look very vague.
Yeah.
But in a way it's quite precise actually.
Yeah.
Well, in a way.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
That's a story
Yeah,
too, but
yeah.
in a way one could say
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I will see. He probably will see this video too.
Me?
Because yeah. No, the guy who said
The
this
guy,
to me,
yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. This is we talk English,
Yeah.
and normally I do it in Dutch.
All right.
I have only
yeah.
one other video from another lady that was in English. So and I was sort of surprised that you're speaking German,
Yeah.
and I speak Dutch, and we are on the same globe.
Yeah.
And yeah, there on we're quite close, you know. We're living next to each other,
Yeah.
but there's a different language that came into existence.
Yeah.
You have any ideas about this?
No.
How this happened?
No, but I mean, definitely. Certainly there's a story about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's sort of amazing, I think.
Yeah.
That this exists. Why we start speaking there like this, and we yeah, you know.
Well, yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, for no reason, but
Yeah.
that's what I mean. There's certainly a story to it.
Yeah, you're not into stories, I can see. Okay.
Well, you can read it on Wikipedia. Or
Yeah.
something. It's not, I don't have to say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Now, I have to get something, you know. So
Yeah.
I tell you a story about my life, sort of, and
Yeah.
I want to see how you adapt to this or how you see this. My mother had a father, you know,
Yeah.
once, and when I grew up, I was very much around this guy because we went there every weekend and stuff like this. And I really like this fellow,
Mm.
but he became older and older,
Mm.
and he had a lot of trouble in his old age
Okay.
because of sickness and stuff.
Okay.
And in the end, he died.
Yeah.
And I was a bit sad about this.
Okay.
And I think you ever had experience like this, sort of, you know?
People dying.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had. Yeah.
And did you had this before you sort of got into this, or?
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. Yes, mostly I had it before, but also while I was already into that. So yeah.
And it changed probably your reaction. How is it?
Oh well, the last thing, but I was already still there. I mean, the last death, I was there, so to speak. Well, I wasn't there in the. Actually, the person died when I went to the toilet. I was in the
really?
room. I was accompanying the person, but she actually died when I was out of the room.
Okay.
But when I came back, it was amazing that in a way nothing had changed. So it was somehow clear. I mean, it was. Well, I was still there. It was still when I was there, but somehow it was really obvious that no one died. That there wasn't a real change between the living body and the dead body. That was kind of remarkable for me at that time. Yeah. And there was what many people reported. There was a kind of a peaceful atmosphere around it. It was in a hospital actually.
Okay.
So I was accompanying a person who was a stranger to me actually.
Okay.
So there wasn't a real connection. That's maybe why she died when I was out of the room, because we weren't familiar. Yeah.
So,
but in a way, that is what this message is saying, that life and death in a way are illusory or are illusions. So there is no one really alive, and so there is no real death of that person. In a way, one could see from the me. That's what this message is about. We talk about life and death, or in the end, that life and death are illusions.
Yeah, I can follow you, of course.
But not really as a mental idea, not as an intellectual idea. It's not philosophy, but what I point to in the talk, so what this is pointing to is that this experience of I'm something that's alive, that this isn't real as it is experienced.
So nobody dies.
Exactly. One could say so. Or what lives isn't real, so there isn't a real death of that. Yeah.
Yeah, in a way it's sort of amazing. But
Well,
a lot of people think others think in another way, you know.
Oh yeah,
I guess,
absolutely, absolutely. But it's not really what they think; it's their actual experience.
Yeah.
So, which isn't wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, most people, which is what apparently happens. But most people experience themselves as, oh, I'm someone, and I'm having a life, and I'm here now, and my life consists of situations and circumstances, and I'm in there. Yeah, that's the normal, for most people, the normal way of what life is.
But for you, not anymore.
Exactly, that's the story, but one could say so, For no reason, it turned out that this whole experience isn't real. It's kind of a death, one could say so.
I read this.
Yeah.
Many philosophies.
Yeah, but in the end, it turns out that it's a death of something that never lived.
Yeah.
So the death thing already is a story. Yeah. And that's in a way what I talk about in the talks. Not for a special reason, amazingly. There's no intention in that, but what happens in the talks is like a pointing out of how that I am. This whole experience isn't real.
They get this? No? What do you think?
Well, no one really gets this, but certainly there seems to be kind of an intensity in the talk. So, in a way, one could say it's heard.
Yeah.
But of course, not by the person.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in the air. Heard is already too much.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the air. Yeah.
Yeah, I can follow you. You know.
In that sense, there is almost, it's all stories, but in the end, there's almost an immediate recognition of that. Which is meaningless. It doesn't, it's not an advantage, but that's what apparently happens.
Yeah. Maybe you would want this in a way, you know, you're still...
Yeah, exactly. The person thinks that I can recognize this and have this and have the
advantage.
The advantage, and I can have the experience of knowing that there is no death. And so that I can live fearlessly as a person. But that's not really happening. Yeah. So seen from the person, it can become quite intense. This whole issue.
Yeah, I think. If you hear this for the first time, I think I can understand why this guy say you're into this vague stuff, you know. Yeah, I can see his point. So, but also with this video, I try to make a sort of a bridge, but it's very hard because you never know where somebody else is.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I only can do what's happening or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's mostly present. I mean, the bridge idea is kind of, you noticed already.
Yeah.
It's, in the end, there is nothing to bridge.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's why it maybe never works to the total.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. I can see. Okay.
Which isn't wrong. That's just how it apparently is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You have a website, and you call it the Timeless Wonder.
Yeah.
And I wondered a bit about this.
Yeah.
Because wonder, you know, you can judge this in many ways.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to ask you what do you mean exactly with a wonder? Are you wondered, like oh man, this is a wonder, or are you wandering around? You know, this everything is
the timeless wonder.
Yeah.
Well,
So
the word wonder, it doesn't. You can definitely discuss about that because it's not really saying anything.
Yeah.
In a way, this is the timeless wonder.
Yeah.
Having this conversation, sitting here, this is the timeless wonder. But in a way, there is no one in there recognizing it as a wonder or a miracle. So.
I can see that. How you sort of go, you know, in your life. If you wake up, you sort of, are you wondered, or are you also sometimes bored and stuff like that? And,
hardly.
You're irritated.
No.
In the traffic, you know.
I get angry in the traffic mostly. I mean, with all those people driving around, it's well. Well, the basic thing is that there is no experience of waking up in the morning. So there's just waking up happening and functioning happening, but nothing wakes up additionally and says, "Oh, I'm here now. Now I'm have to go through the day." That doesn't happen. So quite ordinary, I would say. They're happening. life happening,
Yeah,
like getting up,
Mm.
checking mails, going to the fridge, and making coffee.
yeah. You vacuum clean sometimes in the house, stuff like this?
Oh yeah, I do.
I never like this.
Yeah. No,
My wife
vacuum.
tells me sometimes.
Yeah.
You have situations like this?
I do quite big parts of the household actually.
Okay.
Go shopping and cooking and
Mm.
yeah,
Mm.
I do everything. Not all the time, but
Mm.
depends. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no wonder.
It's a miracle. I know.
No. Very good.
So it's utterly. I would say it's utterly very ordinary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing else to do. You know. That's just.
Yeah. Okay. I have another story. When I was younger, I did a mechanic school, you know, and I was about 14, 15. I wanted to be a car mechanic. And at that age, few guys, they called me Giraffe. You know, from the long neck.
Alright. Yeah, I never heard that about me.
Yeah, but I believe that, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
But this, you know, this had an effect on me because I have a long neck, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and when I look in the mirror, sometimes still I think, oh, he's still there,
Oh.
you know.
Yeah.
And I also think that it influenced me in my functioning, you know, with girls and stuff, my self confidence, stuff like this.
Probably. Yeah. Or maybe.
And, yeah, and I took this with me in my life. It's sort of
Yeah.
a part of me now.
Yeah.
And I wondered if you still have this sort of happenings or sort of things in your you know.
Yes
It's-
and no. Not really, because it's basically the me living in that stories.
Yeah.
So for the me, all that stories are real,
Mhm.
and I believe that. I look into the mirror and I believe that, and I really see that,
Yeah.
and I maybe hear those voices or just that thought repeating.
Yeah.
In a way, that's kind of gone.
Yeah.
That just died together with me.
Mm.
But on the other hand, what apparently happens is that Andreas, I am the person,
Mhm.
the apparent person,
Mhm.
as I am right now, is in the story as I am right now, in a way, apparently because of
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all the things that seem to have happened.
Yeah.
So of course one could say I am like that because I had those experiences and all of that.
Yeah.
But all of that just is what apparently happens. So there is no one experiencing this as the only reality.
Yeah.
The stories and what I think about myself and all that stuff. That actually dropped.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But actually I'm still functioning as I function.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I
You're
could
still Andreas. A bit.
exactly, apparently, yeah, of
Yeah,
course, of
yeah.
course. And apparently because of all kinds of influences.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's fine, that's just
Yeah.
life, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm just.
But on the other hand,
Yeah.
what seems to happen when there is no one, that those things those things don't get supported anyway
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
In a way, me seems to confirm the reality of it by thinking it again and believing in it.
yeah, yeah,
So eventually,
yeah, it leaves you sort of.
yeah.
Yeah.
But this living in stories about me and how I am, and that basically dropped, I would
Yeah.
say.
So it's more light, no problem.
Yeah, yeah. It's more light.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the end, for no one,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's not that I have an experience of that lightness,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but in a way, it's of course, it's much lighter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Have you been, in the past, whatever, you had bad times, maybe?
I
know,
had. Yeah.
I think some people in this story they had a really a shitty life, and they came on this road, and that they saw and they really are enthusiastic because they had such big change. And I think if you didn't have such bad periods or something,
Oh, I had
it
some.
would be different.
Yeah, I had some really bad. I didn't really experience it as a bad period because it was basically a roller coaster. So it was a time where I had many very beautiful moments, but I also had very shitty moments. But maybe other people would regard it as a bad time because I was hardly working. I was just pretty much into spiritual stuff, but I didn't really keep up and what other people might call a normal life. But it wasn't that I felt bad all the time.
Yeah, okay.
I was just seeking.
Yeah.
So it was a dance between I'm almost there and I'll never get it.
Yeah.
So it was extreme.
Yeah. But you were on search for.
Exactly,
Yeah,
I was seeking, and in a way for a period desperately seeking.
Yeah, amazing.
And apparently one could say this could be seen as a bad time, but
Yeah.
as I said, there are also highs in it.
Yeah. You have a picture of it?
A picture?
From the high? You have something? Okay. Let's see what I have more. I noticed sort of in myself that my thoughts and my ideas sort of that they sort of stay the same.
Yeah.
You know, but my body is sort of aging.
Okay.
I already feel this. I have things, and I'm not that. In the past I could run very easy 20 or 10 kilometers, but it's not happening anymore.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm still the same.
Okay.
I still look around in the same way if I did when I was 10 years or 20 years back, sort of.
Yeah.
And I wondered about how is this with you? You can sort of you have this sort of experience, and can you?
Oh, not really anymore, because in a way that's the personal experience.
Yeah.
That's the person, one could say.
Yeah.
And in a way, the person is that unchanging awareness.
Yeah.
That's the personal experience. That I'm something. That there is something that's in here.
Yeah.
Which is really me.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really change over time. Yeah. That's it's a story, but that's the core of me, so to speak. Yeah. But that's the illusion in a way.
Yeah.
That experience is illusory.
Yeah.
It starts at some point between 2 and 4. Awareness gets born. In a way, that's the birth of I am. And then it stays, apparently, until death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with you, it's sort of.
Oh, and that death, that apparent death, can happen earlier in life.
Yeah.
And that is what I would call liberation.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that's the person's experience, that there is a core, something that I am, which is in here, which is like a true core. Christians would maybe call that the soul.
Yeah.
That there is something, if I take away all thoughts, all stories, everything what I think about me, what's left is this core.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way that's awareness.
Yeah.
That's why many teachers also teach awareness to be your real self.
Yeah.
Which in a way is true.
Mm-hmm.
Me is awareness.
Yeah.
But what they can't access is, or what awareness can't access, is that itself isn't real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Which doesn't matter, that's not wrong, but...
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
So some people say actually it's timeless. But in a way it's happening in time, because it's just infinite. It feels like as if it's infinite.
Yeah.
And unchanging.
Yeah.
And all seeking, all my life, all experience. That's the basic setup of experience. There's something here that experiences something.
Yeah.
Awareness and space or something. And if that gets topped up with stories, and then you have, in a way, daily life and the world.
Yeah.
Then there isn't just awareness, then there is I'm Andrea, I'm Peter, I'm having a wife, this is my problems, this is where I'm at in my life, this is the situation I face, this is the things I have to do, and all that stuff. So what I talk about in a way goes, it's a story, but this whole message is pointing, it's a story, but it's pointing beyond awareness in a way.
Beyond the story itself.
Yeah, beyond, I would say beyond the experience of awareness.
Yeah. Okay.
Because many teachers in a way point beyond the story, but they point to awareness.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah.
You can still personalize awareness, sort of, in a way, and it isn't. That's what you mean, I think.
Yeah, I mean that the experience of awareness, that I'm here, is not real. Yeah. So in that sense, the experience of awareness is the person.
Yeah, okay.
Which altogether isn't real. So here there isn't the experience anymore that there is something in here that I am.
Yeah, okay. That's amazing.
Yeah, one could say so, yeah.
Did my mother see this video?
No, sure. Oh, but who
No,
knows?
she's not good in English.
Yeah.
I can see this sort of, you know, from my point. There's another thing that sort of is also a story, of course. You go through this life, you know, and you sort of apparently, and you always from the personal view, it's a personal thing. You think you wanna, every time you wanna get a step.
Absolutely,
Up front, you know, you want to learn, you want to go, you want to develop, sort of. That's the idea.
Yeah.
And that's also a bit why I'm here with you, you know, because I wanna connect with you know, from my point of view, with guys that I feel sort of that are smarter than me, so that I can learn something.
Yeah, but
Really?
okay, but that's a misunderstanding, because I'm neither smart, or maybe I don't know. It doesn't matter. Maybe I am. Maybe you are.
Right.
No one knows. But yeah, in that sense, I honestly can't help you at all.
Yeah. But a lot of people are engaged in this cycle, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the world is almost driven on this.
no, the world isn't driven about the person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
That's
Mhm.
the other thing about that personal experience,
Mhm.
the experience of being something, that there is an unfulfillment running with it.
Mhm.
So the whole idea or the whole experience the person lives in is that I have to fulfill myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
And that there is a point, a possibility of complete fulfillment
Yeah.
for the person
Yeah.
that's waiting somewhere in the future.
Mhm.
And the experience of the person is that I'm moving
Towards.
forward towards that
Yeah.
fulfillment. And so the illusion is that I'm taking steps, that I'm moving forward, and it feels a bit like a ladder
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that I have to climb up.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's how me lives. That's
Yeah, yeah,
how
yeah, yeah.
most people live,
Yeah.
hoping for that future fulfillment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have this bit. Still,
Every
but-
me, whenever there's the experience of
Mhm.
me, there is this.
Yeah.
There isn't me without that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But you lost this probably then.
Yes.
Well,
I lost me,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
yeah.
to speak. So, and together with it, automatically,
Mhm.
this unfulfillment
Yeah.
thing, or this unfulfillment thing, belongs only to the person.
Yeah.
So yeah, when the person drops, this unfulfillment thing drops with it.
Mhm. Yeah.
But it doesn't get replaced by a fulfilled experience.
Mm.
It's not that the
Hmm.
unfulfillment experience leaves and the fulfillment experience comes in.
Mhm.
No, the surprise is that what is naturally fulfilled.
Mm.
It's just naturally whole.
That sounds good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but you don't have any plans then for the future, sort of?
No,
No, no.
no.
Maybe.
I mean, planning happens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have a schedule. You can go on my website and there's a schedule.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But there's not the idea that somewhere in there is fulfillment waiting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not steps.
Yeah.
I'm not going up a ladder. And that's what me is working on. Improvement.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's when it feels happy.
Yeah,
When it
sort of worked out.
thinks that I'm improving.
Yeah, yeah.
That's actually the joy me has.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't look like improving, I feel bad.
Yeah.
Because this means that I might not reach that fulfillment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the highs and the lows I was referring to, the
Yeah.
roller coaster,
Yeah,
they're always regarding the goal.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was always happy when it looked as if I will become
Yeah.
fulfilled or what I was
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was suffering when I thought that, oh, I'll never get it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can see this.
Mm.
But yeah, for me, I sort of, I still have this game, you know, playing.
Mm.
This is also why I make these videos.
Mm.
But I'm also sort of, I also see what you tell, you know.
Mm.
So I'm a bit on a sort of a cross line.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Standing at the abyss.
Yeah, what to do, you know. No, that I really don't have another plan as well, you know. So this video is sort of the last thing. I think, okay, this is gonna be something for me.
Okay.
And I do something.
Yeah.
And I get some likes on Facebook, and then we'll see the next one, sort of.
Mm.
But and also, you know, I think we mentioned sort of in the satsang where we were in Beeldhoven,
Mm.
that every new plan is just my imagination, making a sort of a story again in the future.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not the. As I said, it's not really the planning of it and the doing of it. Um, but the thing is, when there is a person, but this, when there is a person, this is inevitable. So it's not wrong in that sense. But whenever there's a person, there is this experience of what I do now
Yeah.
isn't completely it, but it might lead me
Yeah.
to my fulfillment. And that's just, me isn't just planning for the future, me is also assuming fulfillment there,
Yeah, yeah,
or another step towards fulfillment.
yeah.
There isn't only what is, there is also someone seeking in that for an additional fulfillment.
Yeah.
So it's not just in a year I go there and I'll do that and I have that. It's, oh, in a year I go there, and when I do this, this will give me something.
Yeah.
This will somehow give me another part of the puzzle, or another happy experience, which is another part of the puzzle.
Yeah, yeah.
See in front of me.
Yeah.
So that's the illusion.
Yeah.
And that never really works.
Yeah. Yeah, you never really get that.
Exactly. That unfulfillment in a way never really got satisfied.
Yeah.
Maybe for moments.
Yeah, 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 for me.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Not even really for moments.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're very clear on this. Okay, that's I can live with. Let's see what I still have.
I mean, the good news is that all of that isn't real.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The experience that I'm here, the experience that I'm unfulfilled,
Yeah.
the idea that I have to consciously do my fulfillment,
Yeah.
that's all an illusion.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Nothing is missing.
Yeah. Yeah, I sort of can see this,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
but yeah, there's still a little bit. You see.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what happens, that's what
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry, that's no.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
There's no one who can do anything about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think so too.
Yeah. It doesn't have to do about it.
Yeah, there's another story which I'm sort of attracted to, you know, when I read these books and stuff. And I was for a while in a monastery and tried to do this. And that's about the stillness of the mind. Now the Buddhists, they call this absorption levels. Maybe you heard about this sort of, probably.
Rarely, but
Right.
yeah.
And I think in Hinduistic they call it samadhi. And I wonder if you have a experience in this, or what's your idea about this?
Well, I can only use the words how I would define them. So I'm not clear about Buddhist definitions,
Yeah,
which
okay.
I think there are several too. And saying this samadhi, I can just talk about how I see that, or what my impression is, what is meant with that. Yeah, the mind thing, that's the hard thing to talk about, because most people think of the mind as the thoughts.
Yeah. Okay.
And they think of having a still mind as having no thoughts.
Yeah.
But
Probably.
regarding what I said, this is just within the story. Because it's exactly that set up awareness or consciousness with story, or consciousness awareness without story. And there are many spiritual teachings which think that consciousness with the story is the person, because then there I'm Peter, I have the tickets, and I have a job and the wife and the problems and all that stuff. And the moment when I'm without the story, there is no person.
Yeah.
But regarding what I say, it's still an experience.
Yeah.
There is still awareness. There is still consciousness, enjoying having no thoughts.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, regarding that message, it doesn't matter. I mean,
Yeah.
seen from the person, it may feel relaxing for a while
Yeah.
to be without story,
Mhm.
but it's not something that can be maintained.
Yeah.
You can't really maintain it,
Mhm.
except you work for it.
Yeah, okay.
Except you consciously get out of the thoughts or ignore the thoughts, or you always have something to do.
Yeah, there are techniques, of course. that you
Exactly,
use.
so
Yeah.
it's
Meditation
work.
stuff. Yeah.
It's not liberation, it's work.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah, in a way, it's working. Yeah, yeah,
It's working on something which
yeah. But
has no value in itself,
yeah.
actually.
That's sort of a discussion in my head a little bit.
Oh, it's
But-
just not needed. That's the dilemma. Thoughts aren't a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem for the me is that
Mhm.
it believes what it thinks, and that's what it suffers from,
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
But
Beautiful.
but me can recognize that
Yeah.
and think. So the solution for me is to not think that thoughts.
Yeah.
But then another work starts.
Yeah.
Then I'm working on not thinking the thoughts.
Yeah.
At least believing that one thought,
Yeah.
namely that I have to not think the thoughts.
Yeah.
It's another kind of prison. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
another kind of prison.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I can see this.
It's fine,
Yeah.
but it has nothing to do with liberation.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with effortlessness.
Yeah.
It's just efforts.
Yeah.
And that's what the me is basically living in. The illusion that I have to do something
Yeah.
in order to create effects.
Yeah.
So I have to consciously leave the thoughts. I have to let go. I have to accept again and again and again and again, because basically it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So that's just the normal personal life.
Yeah.
Also in spirituality.
Yeah.
I have to meditate, and as a fruit,
Yeah.
I get a few minutes of no mind.
Yeah. I was in this monastery, in the Buddhist monastery, and that's really a big idea there, that you just meditate and read a mantra,
Yeah.
and then after a while you get results, and these thoughts.
And you get better, and
Yeah,
you get better,
Yeah.
and that's the steps. And
Yeah.
it's like, in a way, it's not wrong,
Yeah.
but it's a career.
Yeah, it's a career. Yeah.
It's a career in spirituality.
Yeah.
And of course, always with the underlying assumption that at one point in the
Yeah,
future,
you get a reward.
I got it.
Yeah.
Then I'm not only practicing it, then I'm really there.
Yeah.
And that me being there is fulfilling.
Yeah.
So it's just the person's life.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, when I was a seeker, it looked very attractive,
Mhm.
because in a
Yeah.
way, it's almost like you are working more direct in your experience.
Yeah.
You don't have to earn 5 million euros to feel good. You can just sit down and breathe or whatever.
Yeah.
That was very attractive to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But it's still all within the personal
Yeah.
setup. And it remains within the personal setup.
Yeah.
And samadhi, that was the other word.
Yeah.
How I understood the word samadhi, I would maybe call an awakening
Mhm. Okay.
as a whole in the experience of being a person.
Mm.
It's not just, that's apparently possible too, which is not just a hole in the thoughts, it's
Mhm.
not just a moment of stillness,
Mhm.
it's also a moment when there is no awareness or consciousness, I would say.
Yeah, okay. But you experienced this sort of thing because you know you have.
Before liberation, I had some of those. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And after not.
No, because after liberation is samadhi without an end.
Mm-hmm.
You know, samadhi, I would say, it's like a hole,
Mm-hmm.
but you survive it, and
Yeah, okay.
you don't survive liberation.
Mm.
So it's, I don't like saying it. It's a complete story, but
Yeah.
when there is no one, all there is samadhi. I'm in constant samadhi, so to speak, which is a story because there is no one in it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, okay, I can see this one. Yeah, good. Okay.
I think there are quite some people. Many people have that actually, like an awakening or a hole in the story.
Yeah, okay.
It's not that uncommon.
Yeah.
But most people who have it, who aren't in a spiritual context, so to speak, they don't have anyone to talk about it. I know several people who have that, who have had something like that in their 20s,
Mm-hmm.
but then they had a normal job and they never talked about it. They had no one who could possibly understand them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I believe this, that this happens, yeah. Mm. Cool.
and so somehow they come here, and after 20 years they recognize that one event that happened to them when they were 20 or 25.
Yeah.
And they almost pushed it away.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, yeah, I know that.
Yeah. They recognize it, sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, okay, this, I think we discussed a lot already. I have sort of a thing that's sort of maybe a bit foolish to get it in, but why not, you know. I also, on the same day with the moped guys,
Yeah.
one guy told me a story that he had a party and he had to work the next morning, but yeah, he wanted to stay on this party, of course. So he was thinking the whole time from, I need the story to call my boss tomorrow that I'm sick and that I can stay home, something like that. So he was thinking about this, and he got up with an idea. I tell the guy that I have inflammation in my balls. Okay. I think that's the right word. And but he's probably, this was such hard thinking about it.
It's a good idea because the boss
Yeah, he probably
don't
check it.
Don't check it or ask about it.
But what happened is he called the next morning and he told this to his boss, and okay. And in this day, he really got it.
Well.
So that was sort of amazing. And I wondered about this, how you sort of view this, that you can create sort of with your thoughts also the actual experience.
No, you can't do that. But it can apparently happen.
Yeah.
But not because there is someone who can consciously choose that.
Yeah.
But it seems as if it can happen sometimes.
Yeah.
But you can't count on it. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Many people try and they just fail.
Yeah.
Which just is what apparently happens. So there is no rule in there. And in the end, that's the illusion, that I'm someone who's a separate entity who can consciously choose to do A or B, and which surely result in a certain result.
Yeah. But you don't take it. This is not.
That's the illusion.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's the illusion. Yeah. I think there are many people
But sometimes
busy with this sort of story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Which is just another way of working on effects.
Yeah.
It's just another way of working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's working.
Yeah. In the end, in a reality, that isn't real in the first place.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it seems to work, sometimes not at all.
Yeah.
Sometimes it seems to work without purpose. He didn't intend to
Yeah.
get an inflammation in his balls, I think.
No, of course.
So
I think it's not a happy thing.
no.
Better go to work.
So it's basically a story.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, seen from the me is, that's what I said before, the dilemma for the me is that in a way, for the me, what I think or what me thinks is already its reality.
Yeah.
It's never real, but if I think I'm an idiot, for the me, that's the reality,
Yeah.
then I'm really an idiot.
Yeah.
So.
That's a story. This was the same guy that told me about the wake. You had a discussion about things. Yeah. That's fine. So thank you for this.
The inflammation wasn't that vague anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think when he hear this, if he looks this, he will think, okay, this will be fun for him. Okay. Yeah, I think I got all my points, sort of what I made up in these few months.
Oh yeah, cool.
And I think we had a
Yeah.
not too vague
Not
conversation.
too vague. No, basically we had it all.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for this interview.
Cool.
And,
Thank you too. Thanks. I enjoyed it very much.
Okay, thank you. Me too.
Yeah.
People, bye bye.